All right, so the idea for this project that I'm about to start doing videos on is when up on until maybe 5, 6 years ago when I was programming, I liked it to be dead silent, but these days I like noise. So I usually have not the TV going, but a streaming on my dev box. And and when I get into my work, what happens is I kind of get stuck on the same channel and it's I don't know, it's annoying. I'd like to be able to get a diversity of channels and shows and stuff that goes on kind of in the background while I'm working. So that's what this thing's going to do. It's going to say from 6 a.m. till 7 a.m. watch one streaming show, and then at 7 switch channels, which because it's on a TV, what I'm going to have to do is open up a web page. And then at 6 a.m., open a web page. At 7 a.m., close that web page, open up a web page for a different streaming, for a different website, different streaming service. It'll make sense as we go along. So I've just kind of thrown in some basic plumbing here. I've got a um, Blazor WebAssembly app. It's ASP.NET Core hosted. It shouldn't matter too much. There's one thing why I do want it like this, which we'll get to. I added a clicker. I don't know if you've ever heard of that saying, the clicker, the remote control, called a clicker. It comes from I don't know, back in the 50s, maybe the 60s. TVs, they had a thing that would click and it would make a sharp click sound. There was a microphone in the TV that could hear that frequency and it would change the knob. Back then you had 3 channels, 4 channels, and it would just change the knob one channel. So all I could do is rotate the channels, but I didn't have to get up. Um, my uncle had one into the 70s, maybe even the 80s. I don't know. Anyway, so that's why it's called that. Now I've added in this and in this, I've added dependencies to the clicker. And then in app.razor, I added this right here, additional assemblies so that it'll recognize it and pick it up. On index.html, I added references to the style sheet and to the JavaScript file. Let me see, what else did I do? Not really much. I put a link in there, but that's not really relevant because this is just a container to get it. The reason why I made it as a Razor class library is I can bolt this thing onto any website pretty quick. Um, Eventually, I'll probably bolt it onto the side of my website, which isn't built yet. And then on index.html or index.razor, I threw in a navigation manager and then just have it once it gets here, because you can't have it start on a certain page, or at least I don't know how to do it. So we don't have to do that extra click there. So it starts and it'll go right to the channel changer instead of going to the home page. Oh, I can't go to the home page. That's right. Maybe I should put a thing on the jigger, a flag on there. Anyway, so that's what we got so far. Let's see how much time have I spent. 4 minutes. All right, let's get into some models. So we'll call this a show. And I'm not going to be doing, I could keep it internal. I'll do public. I don't think it really matters. Now, I'm not going to have this in a database. The way I plan on doing it is storing everything in local storage. And then, if I want to, because I use my one dev box, but, the thing might crash and now I'm out all those shows that I spent time building up my schedule. So I'll probably set up some sort of way to email it so I can pick it up on another machine and maybe even have it automatically email out if you change. your schedule. So we're gonna need, we don't need any IDs. We're gonna need string name and we'll do a string description. Oh, this always annoys me. I know I shouldn't. I should get used to the new stuff, but actually, do I really need to do it to that one? No, we'll just do it to the clicker for now. All right, should go away. And okay, now shows have time slots, right? And one show can be on more than one time, in the week or whatever. Sometimes, like if you watch the news channels, they'll start their lineup at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and then at midnight they'll rerun the same three shows from the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast in the United States. So one show can have multiple time slots. Where'd the show go? Let's see here. Let's get rid of this. We don't need that. We don't need that. We need the nav app. Keep that open. We don't need that. We don't need that. Okay, so we're gonna have prop list time slot. Call that time slots, right? And now when it comes to shows, there's a few different types, right? There's shows that are on uh, weekdays, Monday through Friday. There are shows that are on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, and then there are shows that are on once a week, and then there are shows like specials that will be on only once, and then sometimes a special will have multiple episodes. Two, three, four, five, whatever. Think of Build 2023 coming up here in November. It's a 3-day thing, right? So we should have um, an enum. Let's see, public enum show show type. Yeah, I've got GitHub going here, Copilot going. We're gonna go weekday, weekend. Um, are the shows on 7 days a week? They probably are, right? We'll call it daily, and then weekly, and then special. Okay, so let's go show types. Oop, let's just. I still don't have this IntelliSense going right. It already. I can't tab out of it, or tab back into it rather. Get one chance at it. Well, show type, show type. Now, I'm making this up as I go along, by the way. I really don't know what I'm doing. Let's see here. Do control save. Okay, so for time slots, I think what I'm gonna do, this would not be the most efficient way to store it in the database, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a show that's every weekday. I should call that weekdays, right? Days, the weekends. I think what I'm gonna do is when I create a show and I go to store it in local storage, I'm just gonna automatically pump out a list of time slots. So a time slot is going to have, say, uh, int day of week. And I wonder if I want that as an int or if I want it as a day a week. I think I'll keep it as an int because it'll make the calculations a little easier. And if it's a special, well, no matter what, it's going to want a time of day, right? So prop uh, uh, time only. Let's call it time, I guess. And then if it's a special, we're gonna want a date too. We'll see. I love stuff alphabetical. Prop date only air date. Let's make that. I don't know if I should make it unknowable. I think I will, because most of the time that's not going to be the case. So that's going to have a list of time slots, and we'll just look that up, right? Um, right. So I think I'm also going to want a state manager. So so just put the state manager with the models. This should be a fairly simple project here. I mean, that's pretty much the models right there, show and time slot. We'll do some presentation stuff later probably, but let's call it a state manager, shift, state, state manager. Because actually, yeah, one of the other things I'm gonna want is some settings, public class, state manager, and I'm gonna want a settings class. And on those settings class, one of the things I'm gonna want is enable, probably a better word for that, but that over there, if you don't want it to change channel for whatever reason, it'll stop it. Um, and I'm gonna have auto email for auto email changes and email changes to uh, email changes to I, let's see, I probably should have some data validation on this, not because it needs to go into a database, but because you don't want to have show with no name and so on and so forth. Uh, it's okay. All right, so what's the shortcut for getting rid of stuff here? It's Control R, Control G. All right, so state manager is going to have prop uh, settings. That's going to be queued up. And we're going to have a list of shows too, right? We'll see. Like I said, I'm making this up as I go along. Let's see. I've been. Oh, let's pause it. Also, are you showing these an end time too? So let's go prop only end time. Oop, start time. And also, there could be multiple places you could watch the same show. Sometimes they buffer or they're not available. I've had that experience. So like say you're watching a football game, it could be aired on, the NFL network or uh, Hulu, or if you got a cable provider, yada yada. So we're gonna give it I don't know what to call it. We'll call it a provider, or I don't know. I'll call it a provider for now. We can always change it. Provider. I will want uh do it a name, I guess, just to see like Hulu or whatever, and we'll give it a URL. Oh, these both should be required, I suppose. Oop, required. Do it again for me. Oop, do it again for me, GitHub. The Copilot. Um, and I may want in fact, I should have a usage order. I don't know what to call it. Priority. Uh, and right, priority. And we'll give that a range because we don't want it to be zero, right? Range 1. Oh, remind me to do that. So that's going to be, should I put that on the time slot? Yes, because that could be different for every show. So we'll have a list of providers here. Well, like NBC sometimes, they'll have it on their channel. Um, the whatever they call it, the channel that's on Hulu or your cable provider, but then they got that Peacock thing that'll re-air it or whatever. So we're gonna have a list of providers, and we'll leave that up. All right, I think I'll leave it there for now. We'll start mucking around with the UI and getting stuff going. The next one.